when you were solving if Superman is Clark Kent, you probably were maybe picturing what he would look like without his glasses, or maybe you were thinking if we replace that suit with a cape and those sorts of thoughts. Well, right here, these things look nothing like one another. So the first thing I would do is try to picture them dressed up like one another. Let's make this one a fraction. Any whole number can be put over 1, so it's a fraction. Now, if I just simply make that denominator the same thing on both sides, let's see, I changed this 1 to a 4, so that means I multiplied the denominator by 4. I'd have to change the numerator by multiplying it by 4 as well. I didn't really change the denominator here, so I'm not going to change the numerator. So some amount over 4 is the same as 28 over 4. Well, I know that this amount already starts with 8, and so how many more over 4 do I need? Well, you can kind of just get rid of the over 4 part at this point. Something plus 8 is the same as 28. That number would have to be x is the same as 20. Let me think about this another way. You know, we talked about you can picture Clark Kent looking like Superman, but you can also picture Superman looking like Clark Kent. Let me tell you what I mean. This has a fraction, and this doesn't. So let's get rid of the fraction. This is division. If I want to get rid of division, multiply. So I'm going to multiply, since I'm dividing by 4. So I multiply that by 4, and whatever you do over here to Clark Kent, you do over here to Superman. So I multiply it by 4. And so now we've got x and 8 on one side, and 7 times 4, which is 28, on the other. So x plus 8 is the same as 28 if you subtract 8 from both ends. Once again, we arrive at 20. Let's do a check. We're saying that x is 20, so if I rewrite this original equation, x and 8 over 4 is the same as 7. Let's replace x with 20. So we've got 20 and 8 placed over 4 is the same as 7. 28 is 28, and 28 over 4 is the same as 7. Getting a little more complicated. But this is just a fraction. All this means is this top number here, you're going to multiply everything by 2. This bottom number, you're going to divide everything by 5. So we distribute that. That's 2n minus 20. And I should point out, this is also, it's still an equation. There's still the same as sign. And I've multiplied everything by 2. The n and then the negative 10. Notice there's a negative sign there. Now let's divide everything by 5. So I would divide this by 5. And I would divide this by 5 because that's what this combination of things is telling us to do. Divide everything by 5. And remember, that's the same as negative 52. And if you look back on the problem we just did, what I could do is I could get rid of this fraction part, or I could make the value to the right a fraction again. So it's very similar to the problem we just did. I'm actually going to get rid of the fraction part. So I'm going to multiply this by 5. Everything here, so I get rid of this, and I get rid of this. And then I'm going to multiply this side of the equation by 5 as well. So we're left with 2n minus 20 is the same as negative 260. Now I'm saying to myself, okay, some number minus 20 gives me negative 260. If I add this 20 right here, a negative and a positive is going to give me a negative still because this one has a bigger absolute value. But it's going to be slightly less negative, if that makes sense. It's going to be closer to 0. So it's negative 240. And then I have 2 n's over here. So I would divide that by 2. Divide that by 2. And you end up with n is the same as negative 120. I'm going to do a quick check because this is some heavy-duty math. Let's replace n with negative 120. So 2/5 times, and when you do this out, I would say put your check maybe to the right if you have room. If you don't, just do it right below the problem. 2/5 and then negative 120 minus 10 is the same as negative 52. This is negative 130, negative 120, and then you take another 10, so that's negative 130. And I'm multiplying that by 2/5. So I'm going to make this a fraction. I'm just going to put that over 1. And if you ever have multiplied fractions before, the way that I really like to do it, because I think it simplifies things, is I cross reduce. So I know that 5 goes into 130, so I divide this by 5. 5 goes into 120 times and 36 times. So this is going to give me 26, and there'll be a negative there still. And so we have 2 times negative 26 is negative 52, and I think that's correct. A positive times a negative. Oops, this says negative 25. I meant to say negative 52. And yeah, I think this is actually correct. So 2 times, I'm sorry that this multiplication sign is big, but 2 times negative 26 is negative 52. So, looks like the math checks out okay.